Okay. Rejection is something that low vibrational people absolutely cannot accept. And it's because they determine their confidence and self esteem off of whether or not they've been rejected. When an individual cannot accept being rejected, especially psychopaths, narcissists, malignant narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths suffer with this problem the most. It's because they are hyper depending on someone staying with them to determine to themselves that they have value. And the sickening things, extremes that these type of individuals do to try to force people to stay in relationships with them, stay in friendships with them, stay in toxic abusive family dynamics with them, stay in co-worker connections with them, church environment connections with them, etc. These type of toxic um these type of people will do very extreme things to try to force people to stay with them and not reject them, not leave them, not go no contact with them. But it's not coming from a healthy place. I mean, first of all, you're not a healthy person if you are trying to force someone to stay with you, force someone to not reject you, because rejection is a part of the life experience. Almost every person, no matter how rich they are, how pretty they are, how handsome they are, almost every person at one point in their life will experience some type of rejection. These type of toxic people often cannot accept no. They are the type of people where you will find, if you explore their history, if they were turned down for jobs, they weren't able to accept that they didn't get hired. They started harassing the boss or the people that interviewed them because they can't deal with the fact that they weren't chosen to be hired. If they couldn't get money that they wanted to get, they will try to do harm to some type of corporation that didn't give them a loan. Oftentimes, when people cannot accept being rejected by someone, these are often people who also can't accept no. These are people who just do not know how to accept not getting what they want, because oftentimes they are selfish, they are self centered, they are self righteous, they are often indignant. And these type of people often feel that the world revolves around them. They often suffer from the God complex in the most extreme, severe, abnormal ways. And they just basically think that they're supposed to get every damn thing that they want, and that includes people. And if they don't get their way and get what they want, then they have the right to kill, steal, and destroy and harm and just get retribution because somebody rejected them for anything. Rejected them because they don't want to date them. Rejected them because they don't want to hire them. Rejected them because they don't want to be their friend. Rejected them because they don't want to be family with them no more. They've gone no contact with a family member. And people who have a problem with being rejected have a problem with finding their value in themselves. They have a problem with being able to validate their self worth, regardless of whether or not they are rejected by someone. Most normal, healthy human beings do not validate their self worth off of whether or not they've been rejected by someone, which means the average normal person can break up with someone that don't want to date them anymore. It might hurt them, hurt their feelings emotionally, but it's not going to consume them to the point where they want to kill someone, they want to harm someone, they want to see bad things happen to someone, all because that person rejected them. When you see someone being that extreme over being rejected or over not getting what they wanted from somebody, so let's say a man wanted to have sex with a woman on a first date and she rejects him. And then he goes ballistic and punches her in the face because he wanted sex and he feels like she rejected him. That's an example of the type of extreme things that people who cannot deal with rejection will do. They absolutely feel like they have the right to hurt and harm anyone that rejects them for any reason in any capacity. This is not true. You don't have the right to take away people's right to not want to be with you, to take away people's freedom to choose who they want in their life and who they don't want in their life. But when you are dealing with someone who struggles with accepting rejection, it is a difficult thing to deal with. And it's often stem from these people. At some point in time, they may have been rejected by parental figures. They may have been abandoned by parental figures, which means they may have abandonment issues where they get scared and fearful if someone leaves them or don't want to date them or rejects them or don't want to be with them. Um, it can also just stem from people being raised to be entitled, people just feeling like, no, I have the right to force you to be with me. You owe me. I own you. When you hear people who have those type of mentalities about other human beings, you're dealing with people who usually have something in their childhood that either conveyed to them that no one has the right to reject them because they're the best, they're the catch, they're the prize, or they got rejected when they were children, possibly by their parental figures. And now, as adults, they don't know how to deal with and accept rejection without spazzing out, acting like a toddler, and then commencing to having adult temper tantrums, which is very dangerous. It's very dangerous when adults are having temper tantrums because then other people get hurt, other people get killed, other people get attacked, other people get destroyed, all because an adult who should have the maturity to accept rejection, accept that other human beings have the right to reject you, and move on with your life. This is not how people who suffer with accepting rejection operate. And people who suffer with rejection, suffer with accepting rejection, to me, are very toxic, very dangerous, and are people that everyone should avoid. Because anytime a person who can't accept rejection gets rejected, they're going to start harming any and everything that they can, all because they don't like being rejected and they can't accept it. They weren't raised to know how to accept rejection. These people were often raised to be self centered, entitled. They were often spoiled by their parental figures, and they were often raised to think that they are God's gift to the world, so no one should be rejecting them. Simultaneously, a lot of these type of people were also rejected by one or more parental figure, either emotionally, physically, or psychologically. So if you ever find that you're dealing with someone who can't accept rejection, you have to go no contact with them and try your best to protect yourself because they become very dangerous and they're usually not going to be reformable.